was equipoised.
I tell you, Paul Revere, now this is no bum steer. It's from a handicapper that's real sincere.
I'm taking Valentine, cause on the morning line, the guys...
Hello racing fans, and welcome back to another edition of Handicapper's Corner, brought to you by the Derby Bar and Grill. I'm Mike Heads, along with Drew Forster. We're going to go through the Saturday, May 17th races at Hastings Racecourse, and of course it is the second jewel of the Triple Crown as well, so we'll touch on the Preakness.
Preakness Day should be a great day for racing. They kind of got unlucky here locally on Kentucky Derby Day. It was raining. Not a great day, but the weather's picked up. It's gotten beautiful here. And yeah, everybody comes out to hopefully to watch California Chrome knock out the second leg.
Yeah, I know it'll be a lot of interest because he is a cool
West
little
Coast
horse. There's a lot of, you know, the trainer Art Sherman used to ride here in the late 60s, early 70s. Like there's some Vancouver ties to the horses. You know, they're long ties, but I mean there are some ties.
And it's a rags to riches story as well. It's not a you know, the Pletcher, Velasquez, Windstar kind of.
No, there's no blue chip breeding here.
No.
This is a Lucky Pulpit who just ended up being, you know, your brother trained Lucky Pulpit, and just ended up being a pretty neat stallion in California, and bred with a mare, a couple of guys. Called
a mare for $8,000 or something, and and they get the Derby winner.
Yeah.
And
Dumbass partners.
And we both actually, we'll get into that a little later in the show. We both actually picked him to knock out the Preakness.
Yes. Okay, we'll get into the Saturday card at Hastings. So first half of your double, we do have some $4,000 non-winners, a 2 lifetime to go 6.5 furlongs. I ended up on the 3-horse Castrati. Not impressed with the first up run, but still, I thought this horse had some problems, got bumped, and kind of got shuffled back early. I'm the dude with attitude around a big race, and beat him that day. But I think Castrati's going to get a pretty good pace to run out in here. You got Joint Choice, you got 1440, maybe even rolling in the Owls, and WW Wander. I just think Castrati will be a little bit better second time out and getting on a fast track as well. So I tried Castrati to win it. Put the 6-horse 1440 in for second. Doesn't have the benefit of a race under his belt, but still been working well for trainer Pat Jarvis and former bartender Morris Milne owns this horse, and I know him and his partners, they did well last year with this horse, and nice to see a little group of people get together and get a horse and have a little bit of success with it, and that was the case with 1440 last year. So we'll be pulling for that one. And the 1-horse Joint Choice for Craig McPherson. This horse ran in some tougher races last year, and I think this non-2-4 hits him perfect, works are good. Just a little worried about all the other pace in the race. It's the only reason I didn't pick him on top. But I like Castrati to win it. I think he's going to get a little bit better trip and has the race under his belt. I went 3, 6, and 1.
I got pretty much the same horses. I have Castrati on top, as you mentioned. I think getting the race under his belt. Coming out second out with rider Alex Bisono on him. Alex is off to a very good start here at Hastings, and as well so is Mike Anderson. The second spot I went with Hanrahan out of the Steve Henson barn. He exits that same race as Castrati. Amadeo Perez is off to a very good start this year, as usual. He looked for him to be on live horses, and he sticks with this horse. And Steve Henson's horses are starting to get going a little bit.
Yeah, this horse botched the start last time. Absolutely had the rail and botched the start. Cost him about 3 or 4.
Yeah, exactly, and was 4 wide, and he did have some problems in that race. Amadeo sticks with. So will I. I got Hanrahan in the second spot. And 1440, as you mentioned, very useful little horse out of the Pat Jarvis barn. Very good story as well. You mentioned Morris bartender owning him. So I've always liked this horse. He always runs honest races. 6 out of 9 in the money. Don't leave him out of your tries. I got 3, 7, and 6 in the opener. On to the second, maiden special weight, 3 and up. There's some really good maiden special weights this
There's some big allowance and maiden special weight races this weekend. We have a really good couple of cards on the Saturday and the Monday. Unfortunately, we did have to we elected to not run on the Sunday, just so everyone knows, and they've moved that card later in the year.
To the Monday,
But
July 23rd.
But July 23rd or whatever it is. But yeah, we've had a little trouble filling races, but it's just a tough. This time of year to run 3 days, and we're running Saturday and Monday.
Early on in the meet, so you get Preakness Day and then the holiday Monday. That made the most sense. I think you may see some future superstars running this weekend. One of the ones that I've heard is training very well that I went with in this maiden special weight for boys is number 7, Slice of Red. Very juicy 8-1 morning line currently. I don't see this horse going off at that.
No, neither do I. Regal Red, out of Regal, champion mare.
Yeah, out of Regal Red, who was a very talented racehorse in her own right, and she's been able to pass that on
Good family. This is a really good family. The Regal Red family is good. She's a
Very
sister
strong.
to numerous stakes runners. She's out of Sophie J.
Yeah.
And it's just, there's a list of
They
great
can all
runners
run.
the Gumpridges have had who race under Linwood stables. So wouldn't be surprised these one will be a little superstar too.
Gets that 111 and 4.
Yeah, nice
the
little move,
works look good. Out of Rosberg, the recently departed Rosberg.
Yeah, we lost Rosberg.
Yeah.
That was terrible. Yeah,
And usually what happens, the rule of thumb here, when they pass on, they all start running. Look at Millennium All-Star.
It's like a mare. If you lose the mare, you're guaranteed that the last couple of foals will be like
stakes
superstars.
winners. Yeah, exactly. So a lot of things, exactly. A lot of things point to Slice of Red for me. Basically, the Regal Red, the Rosberg, the works, everything looks good. I landed on Slice of Red. The second spot, I put Song of Victory. This horse will be your favorite. Just missed an amazing special weight at Golden Gate. Came up here, was absolutely flying, 45 and 2 in the Jim Coleman Province, and just got a little tired late.
Yep.
He drops into a maiden race. Mario Gutierrez is named on. I got him in the second spot. In the third spot, I got another horse who's been working very well this spring, the Craig McPherson barn, Coffee Grinder. Son of Grindstone, Kentucky Derby winner Grindstone. And Richard Hamill probably had some options in here, and he sticks with this horse. So I got Coffee Grinder in the third spot. I got 7, 1, and 2.
I have the same 3 horses, Drew. I don't have a lot to add. I think you nailed everything. I went to Song of Victory on top. It's a big class drop. I mean, they thought enough of him to run him in a stake. So back in Maiden Company, he had the tough horse Aspen Getaway kind of crawling right up, breathing on him the entire race. So that 45 was a little tough on him. I don't think, I just...
Yeah, that wasn't an easy 45. That was an eyeball 45.
Like he's getting pushed and then getting buried, and then you still hang on. I thought you hung on admirably and run 5th, but back in the maiden race, this horse got to be tough. I agree with Coffee Grinder for the reasons you said. Nice pedigree. Yeah. This horse ran some good races last spring, been working well. And also Slice of Red. This Slice of Red could be any kind of horse. He could win this race for fun, this Slice of Red. So it'll be interesting to see who does get the big prize. But I went 1, 2, and 7. In the second, on to the third race, got some $5,000 non-winners for a lifetime. Fillies and mares to go 6.5 furlongs. I landed on the 7-horse Victorious Spirit. Kind of torn between the 7 and the 3. I think those are your 2 horses in here. If you're playing your early pick 3, I think 3 and 7 I think you should be able to get through it with those 2. Victorious Spirit didn't break as well in her debut this spring, but then rushed up. Put away the other speed, but couldn't hold off Uniqua, who comes sliding up the inside. And so I'll go with Victorious Spirit to win it. I put Haida in for second. Horse that got a nice trip up the inside and just ran a big race, and look for this horse back at the 5,000 level to be tough. And I put the 4-horse Doreen's Delight in for third, who also ran a big. All 3 horses ran good races first time out, so I think those are the 3 for me. But I think Victorious Spirit, I just think there's not going to be a lot of speed. I can see this horse maybe getting away on the head end, so I went 7, 3, and 4. Just because of her tactics, she might get the job done.
I have the same horses. In the same top 2, I agree. These are the top 2. But I put Haida on top. It worries me, though, because Haida best races generally been in the slop. And I think it's going to be dry this weekend, so I was kind of hedging. But I just think that was a tougher race she came out of with Maida Vale, Webster.
Right.
And I thought that was a tougher race, so I gave her the nod. I got Victorious Spirit in second spot. As you mentioned, those are your 2. It could go either way. I just went 3, 7. And Doreen's Delight in the third spot. That makes sense out of the Harold Derby barn. 3, 7, and 4 for me. Just a little bit of a change from Mike's picks. On to the 4th race. Fillies and Mares Maiden, 5,000 going, 6.5. I landed on the 8-horse here, on the edge. Picked her last time. She was a beaten chalk for 12.5. She had been running in Phoenix for 20 and running good races, so just getting beat. So I thought that the 12.5 would fit her. She didn't run all that good, but she takes another drop here, down to 5. Amadeo Perez sticks with her. I'm going to stick with her as well. The 8 on the edge. The second spot, I put a Moonbeam on a Stone. I thought that was a better race than it looked for maiden 12.5 in that Rachel run and get up and try. A decent race. And I like the rider change from Freddie Manrique to Alex Bizzono. I think that'll move her up a little bit, and maybe she can get into the play spot. And the third spot, I put Jamila out of the Pat Jarvis barn. Already ran in this caliber, the maiden 5. I took the 2 that were dropping. But she ran second in maiden 5 to That's the Spirit, who was the favorite that day. Actually, Jamila was the favorite that day. got beat by That's the Spirit. She'll be a handful in here too. I got 8, 7, and 5.
Yeah, I like the 5-horse Jamila. I thought the horse ran a big race.
Yeah.
Got a pretty broke well, cleared, and then slowed things up, maybe too much.
Yeah.
And That's the Spirit took this big bold run at her down the backstretch and actually put her away by the quarter pole. And now she's stuffed in on the inside and behind horses, which is an awkward place to be for a horse. And I thought she fought on admirably despite not getting the best of trips and not being able to keep up. I thought she got slowed up way too much the opening quarter. I think she'll just go and open up links, and I think she'll be pretty good. I think That's the Spirit, who was running for a little more money last year, was a pretty tough horse to run into for 5,000 anyway, and it kind of showed in the result. But I thought the time of 1:12 and 2 was good. I like Jamila to win it. I agree with On the Edge. This horse got bumped repeatedly leaving the gate last time, which kind of cost her early position, and that's why this horse wasn't up there and prominent through the early stages. And so she had a lot to do on an off racetrack, and I think she'll appreciate getting back on a fast track. And at least she can't get squeezed. She's on the outside, so she'll obviously get a better beginning. So I put her in the second spot. I put the 1, Silver Pursuit, who was one of the horses bumping with On the Edge leaving the gate, and I think this horse is worth following. Didn't get the best of goes, and the Jody Rossenbarn's been going well, so I'll put her in for third. But I do like the 5 and 8. The 5 and 8 are my 2 horses in here, and it's for me it is a distant third to the 1-horse Silver Pursuit. But I think it's between Jamila and On the Edge who wins the money. I went 5, 8, and 1 in the 4th. On to the 5th race. I got a nice allowance event for 3-year-old fillies here, going 6.5 furlongs. Got a bit of speed in here, but I ended up landing on the 4-horse Two Pump, who was chasing a very good filly, Arabella's Muse, on the head end. Succumbed from those early fractions to run 4th, but still, this is a much easier assignment. And I think this horse has got to be really dangerous in this spot, so I'd like her to win it. Put the 1-horse Bluegrass Miss in for second. She's been training well this spring. Not the best gate horse. I just remember her last year. She was a little tardy away from the gate, and so the 1 hole isn't the best spot for her, going 6.5. But I think she's gifted enough. I mean, there's some nice works from this daughter of Bluegrass Cat. So I wouldn't be surprised to see her win it. But I just think for having the rail, she may be compromised, but she may be good enough to overcome it. We'll see. And I put the 6-horse Avadiva in for third. It was between Avadiva and Sensational Beauty, who both won maiden allowance races on opening weekend. But Avadiva, she was hooked pretty good the entire way, and she fought off all challengers and ended up drawing away at the end, which I thought was a little better than Sensational Beauty's race that had comfortable fractions and was pushed a bit, but still both of them actually ran big races, so it's kind of a coin toss between those 2 for third. But I went to the 4-horse Two Pump, dropping out of a stake back into allowance company, so I went 4, 1, and 6.
I left Two Pump off my ticket, and I actually had her in the mix in that last stake, but I went with Bluegrass Miss. I like the connections here. I think the works are just outstanding. She was running fairly good as a 2-year-old, only had the 2 starts. But I think that going into a 3-year-old year, she looks like she's matured a lot. I mean, every work is a bullet.
I mean, they're brilliant works.
So I'm going with Bluegrass Miss, Amadeo Perez, Tony Cluche, and all the best to Tony's husband, our friend Mark Cluche, who broke his collarbone.
Yeah.
Was that yesterday morning or 2 mornings ago?
A couple mornings ago, he broke his collarbone.
Came off a horse and broke his collarbone. All the best to Mark. The second spot, I went with Sensational Beauty, the horse you mentioned. Just won a maiden special weight here out of the Troy Taylor barn. Looks very good. One that they bought privately off Bob Baffert. Was running in fairly decent in the maiden special weights in California. Came up here, made no mistake. Didn't win by a ton, but made no mistake her first out, and I could see her, improving with her second start here at Hastings. And the third spot, I went with Habida. Very useful horse here last year. Second in the debutante, third in the futurity behind Arabella's Muse and Architecture. Then went out to Edmonton and absolutely destroyed in a stakeout there, 1 for fun. Frank Fuentes, Pat Jarvis have very good stats together, 23% over the last 2 years. I went 1, 2, and 7 in the 5th. Nice little allowance race. On to the 6th.
Another one.
Another allowance race for fillies and mares. This one, there's some interesting horses in here too. There's a lot of horses I could have made a case for. One of the horses I really liked, actually, I don't even have on my ticket, was Graffiti Grace. I put Bamboo Dream in. I thought Bamboo Dream ran a bang-up race behind Hollywood Miss and Madeira Park. Only got beat 3/4 of a length. Hollywood Miss or Madeira Park would be heavily favorites in here. Actually, Madeira Park will probably be your favorite in the stake this weekend, and she only got beat, a half a length, 3/4 of a length by her. So I put Bamboo Dream in the top spot. The second spot I put Super Divine of the day, Forster Barn. This is kind of a funny one. Filly looked like she had a lot of talent. I know she's grown a lot. Nice work the other day in 59-3 for owners Arnold and Judy Benowith. She only ran here the once last year and she got hurt, so it was tough to gauge kind of where she was at, right? Or just kind of a throw out that race. I know she's been training very well. She attracts Amadeo Perez. A lot of things to like about her, and a juicy 6-1 on the morning line for her. I got her in the second spot. And in the third spot, I could almost interchange these horses, and there's more here that I, don't even have in, like Willamette. But I put Pretty Reckless, another lightly raced horse out of the Mike Anderson barn. Ran once in a maiden special weight here last year. Very good time of 16-4. Won by 4.5 under Richard Hamill. Looked very good doing it. The sky's the limit with her, with a horse like that. Only ran once. Quick time, impressive win. We'll see. I went 5, 4, and 7.
Yeah, it's a good race. There's a lot of
horses. Willamette, Miss Dickey, Catalina I left out.
This is a tough race. I went to Graffiti Grace. I think she's the best filly in the race. She ran against the boys in her final start last year against the Milkman Joey and Step Up for the Money and DJ Snow. Her last run against the fillies, she did win the same race, the same condition, defeating Catalina and Dee's Dream. But this is a tougher race. I mean, there's some nice, solid horses in there that have competed admirably against pretty good company. And I'm hoping Richard Hamill can get this horse out of the gate. That's the whole key. Graffiti Grace breaks because she's not the most reliable horse leaving the gate. Sometimes she leaves there with the field, other times she doesn't. And if she gets caught up in behind horses, I don't like her anymore. But I mean, obviously you have to make your selection before the gates are sprung. And Graffiti Grace is, I think, good enough to. She's trained brilliantly. I mean, look at the work tab: 59, 112, 140. There's a string of good works for Robbie Anderson, and I like Graffiti Grace. I'm going to try her to win. I don't see a lot of speed in here. If you look, Miss Dickey, who was scratched. She was a poor actor near the starting gate a couple of weeks back, and she's
another one, just a one-star
speed horse, but she's a 3-year-old against older mares, and that's big against at this time of year here in the Northwest. But I think Graffiti Grace gets a good trip. I like the outside post, and even if she breaks a heartbeat slow, she can kind of scoot up and maybe get into position. So I'd like her to win it. Put the 8 Locket in for second. Yeah. She ran against, I think so, and Lady Henrietta. That was a race that had no speed in it. She was really compromised by the fact that the last part of the race was run extremely quickly, and she had no shot. So I think she may get a little better pace with Graffiti Grace, Pretty Reckless. I think she's a better horse than Bamboo Dream, personally. But we'll see how that all does unfold. And I agree with you, Super Divine. I want to give this horse another chance. You can't go on what you saw in the one race last year. She obviously had some pretty good credentials down south before coming up here to Vancouver, and I think she's worth following. And the work tab does suggest that she is doing far, far better than she was when she arrived last July. But she's doing better. But I went 6, 8, and 4. This is the tough race.
That's the all-button race. I would be hitting the all-button there. I wouldn't be surprised to see any of them win it.
Yeah. On to the 7th race, another allowance event. This one for the boys. This will be for 3 and up here, going 6.5 furlongs, and on to Lifetime or non-3 BC bred. I landed on the Speedy number 9. I'm hoping Speedy number 9, Samilkameen Joey. Yep. This horse won this condition in his final start last year, fending off everyone, and including Step Up for the Money and DJ Snow. I know this race has come up considerably tougher, but I love the work tab. 46 flat, 1 and 12 and change. Not a lot of speed. Obviously, Ryan Pacheco's been on this horse in the morning. He gets the call for Bill Connick Jr., who's off to a great start this year with that nice win with Follow My Orders on opening or last weekend. But I think this horse is pretty live, and I know a 5-year-old, and I just think this horse is, it kind of was like his 2-year-old season last year, almost, or 3-year-old season, let's say. And I think he'll be a better runner even after that good season that he had last year. Put the 5-horse Go for Guinness in for second. This horse ran in some big races last year. Of course, his final start was in the BC Derby. He's been training well for Dave Forster, and I give this horse a big chance with Amadeo Perez back aboard. And they combine with a big win on BC Cup Day, Amadeo and Dave with Go for Guinness, and would be surprised to see this horse make some noise even sprinting. And I put the 8-horse Hope Seeker, who I liked on opening day or second weekend, in that allowance event, but more experienced hands at the wheel, and maybe Richard Hamill can get this horse at a little bit better trip. But Hope Seeker, I know he didn't fare well against Commander, Casino Bus, and Wildcat, but this is a lot easier test for him. So I put him in for third. But I like all three of them. I would definitely not stand alone with Similkameen Joey. I would play some more, 3 or 4 horses in here. But I went 9, 5, and 8.
Yeah, I didn't put Similkameen Joey in there, and that's it's a tough race. He's a rock star sprinter, that horse.
He is,
too,
and
right?
he's a good horse. I think he's getting better.
Yeah, I put Go for Guinness on top. I think he can sprint. Him and Amadeo have teamed up before. Amadeo seems to ride this horse well. Seems to get him in position. I think actually he would have actually run better in the Derby last year, but he worked really quick before, and I think that kind of took the wind out of his sails. I got him on top. He's been training forwardly for it. He gets Amadeo. They seem to get along together, so I put them on top. I put Deviance out of the Troy Taylor barn in the second spot. Finished off the year in the Jack Diamond Futurity with an 8th, but early on in the year he was running lights out. Had a couple nice wins, won a stake. Nice work last time, 113. Troy Taylor horses always run good this time of year, right? Because they train.
Wish it was against 3-year-olds. But,
I know against 3-year-olds it is tougher.
These are older,
but
tough
but
horses.
when they train at Pegasus, and they get all the best of it, and it seems like they come out of the gates running. So I don't mind Deviance at all in the second spot. In the third spot, I put Hope Seeker. Back in a week kind of scares me. This horse does have a lot of talent. I know Richard Hamill had been working the horse, and so he finally gets aboard him. He wasn't aboard him in that last allowance race, but he gets on him today. I think that's an upgrade. He's a pretty big, strong horse. Might have been a little bit too much for the bugger.
That's what I'm saying. I hate to slag any riders.
No. She tries.
Corinne does a good job. She works hard in the morning.
Exactly. She's not going to fit every horse, and this is a big, tough horse.
And when you're in against 6 or 7 other nice horses, you got to be in play, and it's a tough time to have a bug on. Yeah,
to have it on a big, tough horse, like you say. Last year, Antonio Reyes might have been the strongest rider here last year.
And he
built like a little Schwarzenegger, and he had to wrestle the horse around. So it might have just been a little too much horse for her. I like to move to Richard Hamill. I got 5, 1, and 8 in a very salty allowance race. On to the nightcap. 3 and up, claiming 16,000, non-winners of 2. I did go to the Troy Taylor horse here. Leo's in the house. This is a horse they thought quite a bit of throughout his career. Hasn't quite lived up to it, but they started him off this year right around the 16 non-2 level. I think that'll fit him well. The second spot, I put Tribe, new addition to Hastings, Swift Thoroughbreds. Comes out of the Carla Gaines. They have horses with Carla down in Santa Anita. Got sent up here where he was running for 25 non-2. Not overly competitive down there, but I can tell you what, that's a lot tougher race than you get for 16,000 non-2 here. So Tribe comes in, race fit. He ran on the 14th of March, so he's ready to roll. Nice work over the course, 59 and 4 a couple weeks ago. Tribe in the second spot. In the third spot, I put Ruffy Joe out of the Carl Austin barn. Fighter, this horse. He always seems to run good races. Doesn't rack up the wins. But there's a non-3 condition on here actually for BC breds, which makes him eligible for this. But he's just a neat horse. He always seems to run good races. Always seems to be right there. He's a tough guy. I put him in the third spot. I have 5, 6, and 3.
I went to the 4-horse Stevenson Lad. I think this is your speed.
I wouldn't be surprised to see him.
It was his first year last year racing, and I thought he was, in against some tough horses. I know he lost to Leo's in the house first time out, but that was his first start. That was Leo's in the house, like 5th start or something. Yeah. And then lost to Peyton's Best, who had a bunch of racing experience as well. Then he broke his maiden. Then he ran against, Serendipity Grove, who was on a roll, and then a good 4th to Similkameen Joey. I thought those were good races. He's down for 16. We lost Les Mazie, who owned this horse. Now is living. Barbara Heinrich owns the horse, but it was sad that Les Mazie passed away, who was the owner of Stevenson Lad. So this horse is down for 16,000, and I think this horse is live, speed, and I think going to be really dangerous. I put the 3-horse Ruffy Joe, as you mentioned. Not a lot of wins, but a lot of big races. I like this horse a lot last year. He just seems to, I don't know, he's just an unlucky dude that doesn't win, though. He just seems to find trouble. But hopefully Amadeo can steer him into a good spot, and put the 5-horse Leo's in the house for third. I went 4, 3, and 5 in the Saturday finale. Up next will be, actually we'll go through our picks first. Yeah. We'll go through a recap of our Saturday picks. Back in race number 1, I went to the 3-horse Castrati. I went 3, 6, and 1. Race number 2, I went to the 1, Song of Victory, 1, 2, and 7. Race number 3, I went to the 7, Victorious Spirit, 7, 3, 4. On to the 4th race, I went to the 5, Jamila. I like 5 and 8 though. I went 5, 8, 1. 5th race number 4, 2 Pump over the 1, Bluegrass Miss, and the 6, Avadiva. Race number 6, Graffiti Grace. Over the 8, Locket, and the 4, Super Divine. Race number 7, the 9, Similkameen Joy. I'm hoping for a good break from that outside post. I went 9, 5, and 8. And in race number 8, number 4, Stevenson Lad, 4, 3, 5.
And up next to be my picks. There we go. In the first race, I would agree with Mike on number 3, Castrati, with the 7 and the 6. In the second, I went to the first-time starter, the Royally Bred Slice of Red, the 7 over the 1 and the 2. In the third, I went to the 3, Haida Gwaii, over the 7 and the 4. In the fourth, I went to number 8, On the Edge, over the 7 and the 5. In the fifth, I went to the 1, Bluegrass Miss, over the 7 and the 2. In the sixth, I went to the 5, Bamboo Dream, over the 4 and the 7. In the seventh, I went to number 5, Go for Guinness, over the 1 and the 8. And the nightcap, the 8th, I went to the 5, Leo's in the House, over the 6 and the 3.
Of course, Saturday is Preakness Day, the second jewel of the Triple Crown, and we'll quickly touch on that race. Of course, you can watch the race right here at the Derby Bar and Grill as well if you are not going out to Hastings Racecourse or Fraser Downs. So they'll have the races on here. Got some great lunch specials here at the Derby.
Absolutely, yeah, we'll have some lunch specials, some drink specials, of course, Black-Eyed Susans.
Oh, we got to have them. Anyway, I'm going to go to the 3-horse California Chrome.
You picked
no
him in the Derby, you're correct.
I like the 7-horse. Kid Cruz for second. This horse has been running in Maryland. It's a different track. I mean, not every horse handles every surface, and this horse, I think, performed very well over the Pimlico Strip. And there is quite a bit of, I think, early action. I think California Chrome will be part of a lively early pace. But I just think someone coming from off of it might get second, and so I put Kid Cruz in for second. I put the 10-horse Ride on Curlin, who had an eventful trip under Calvin Burrell, had a big outside draw last time. Got into a lot of trouble at the quarter pole. The trainer was not happy with Calvin Burrell. He's replaced him with Joel Rosario.
Were they fighting in the winner's circle?
I don't know. I know Calvin. He's been noted for his little boxing matches. But this Gowan, the trainer, was pretty upset and pretty vocal about it in the media.
A questionable ride, he felt.
Yes, questionable. He was a little more vocal than that. But he thought he got a terrible ride, and he's changed.
He moved to Joel Rosario.
Yep. So I went 3, 7, and 10. But we're all, of course, everyone's pulling for California Chrome.
Absolutely, as we mentioned earlier on in the broadcast, Art Sherman. It's absolutely, this is a good guy horse, right? Victor Espinosa is an absolute class act. Art Sherman and the 2 working guys who own this horse, Tough Notch for California Chrome. The second spot, I put Social Inclusion.
Yeah, cool. I don't know what to do with that horse.
Yeah, I don't know if he's just pure speed and if if he's going to get swamped. But he's obviously got a ton of talent. That allowance race he ran at Gulfstream Park, where he got 110 by or 1 by 10. A lot of people were talking, Derby winner after that they'd just seen the Kentucky Derby winner.
Because he beat Honor Code that day.
That's right.
Honor Code was kind of the big 3-year-old on the scene at the time.
And he absolutely demolished him. Then he come back in the wood, end up running third, to Wicked Strong. So I think they just thought, they thought he could have run better. Maybe something happened. They thought he's just not right. We'll skip the Derby and come into the Preakness. So you have California Chrome coming back in 2 weeks. This horse had been sitting on the bench. I think he could run a big one under Luis Contreras. In the third spot, I put Dynamic Impact, the Mark Casse train E. Took a while to break his maiden, but what he did it in style and came right back and beat Midnight Hawk. Very nice horse out of the Bob Baffert barn in the Illinois Derby. Again, that was April 19th. They skipped the Derby, come to the Preakness. I like that angle of the horses that are not running back in 2 weeks, that are giving themselves a better shot. I went 3, 1, and 8 in the Preakness. Good luck to everybody. These Triple Crown days are an absolute highlight.
Yeah, no, they're big. There's our picks on screen. Here's the 3, 7, 10 for me. California Chrome, Kid Cruz, Ride on Curling. And then Drew's picks will be 3.
I would like to point out, too, pay attention to Mike's picks. So he did nail the exactor in the Derby cold. I went California Chrome, Social Inclusion, and Dynamic Impact. 3, 8, and 1.
All right, that'll do it for the Saturday, May the 17th edition of Handicapper's Corner by the Derby Bar and Grill. Once again, thanks everyone for tuning in. Hopefully we've enlightened you and give you some little good insight into maybe making some winning wagers on the Saturday program. Once again, no racing on Sunday, live racing, and no live racing on Sunday at Hastings, but we do have live racing on the holiday Monday Victoria Day program. It starts at 1:50 as well. On behalf of Drew, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time here at the Derby Bar and Grill.
Can do.
I'm picking Valentine, 'cause on the morning line.